Trump has appointed to the head of Secret Service. His name is Sean Curran, who is the man in the photo wearing the sunglasses. Agent who shielded Trump in Butler. Here we go. Agent who shielded Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, to lead Secret Service. President Donald Trump tapped Sean Curran, the head of his personal security detail, to lead the Secret Service. We're going to get into this. And I want to preface this with a number of things, going back to Ganthet's comment about being out of my depth. I've never served. I've never been a bodyguard. My knowledge of firearms is very limited, but I consider myself to be a rational, logical, hypochondriac, neurotic, obsessive compulsive disorder individual, which means that, if the objective, and it's a no-fail objective, no-fail mission, is to protect somebody, you scope out the angles. As a father, your no-fail mission is to protect your children. And when you're a neurotic, maniacal hypochondriac like myself, you go into a movie theater, if you're in my head, you're like, okay, where do we sit? Where's the exit? Where's the fire exit? Where's the other exit? Where are all the exits? If something happens, where do I want to be? And as the movie's going on, you're barely able to enjoy the movie, which is why I don't go to theaters anymore, because you're like, okay, what was that noise? And do we have to start making a beeline for the exit? Sean Curran jumped on Trump and shielded him, as did the other Secret Service members as well. By that point, in the logical, scientific universe that was supposed to transpire, Trump would have already been dead. By that point, when they shielded him, it was by a divine intervention that he didn't have his head taken off at that moment. So the shielding him, I'm sort of analogizing it to the reckless driver who then bravely jumps into the car to pull out a passenger. At that point in time, the system had failed. And it's not as a result of what anyone on the Secret Service did that Trump survived. It was an act of God. So it's the reckless driving, someone who's driving too fast, not paying attention on their phone, crashes their car. All right, you run into that burning car and you pull out the passengers. You're brave, you're heroic, but you've already screwed up. So by the time that Sean Curran and the others jumped on Trump, he would have already been dead if things had happened without that divine intervention. So in as commendable as that is, the fact that the shots came off, albeit not entirely on Sean Curran's responsibility whatsoever, there were system failures there that are inexcusable. And Sean Curran was head of his Secret Service detail, but not in charge of planning that, laying out, scoping the events that day. Fine. If you're protecting Trump and your zero-fail mission is to protect Trump, you have to have a system in there, and you have to personally come on and say, who's on that roof? I can see that roof. Who's got it? If you don't do that, there's been a failure. If you say, someone's on it, don't worry. Okay, there's been a failure. Set aside the roof. We know of the timeline now. We know that there were 2 minutes where they knew that Crooks kid was on the roof trying to gain access to the roof with a gun. Oh, if that didn't get immediately relayed to Secret Service, somebody failed. This video is sponsored by Aura Smart Online Safety powered by AI. Can you think about a time when a company you trusted announced a data breach hack and your information was all out there on the internet for the world to see? I can think of at least 2 occasions in my life where I was made aware of a data breach and found my email address on the internet. You may or may not be aware of the National Public Data Breach. The incident compromised over 2.9 billion records used for background checks, which included critical personal information such as social security numbers, home addresses, telephone numbers, and more. And immediately after signing up, I found a number of breaches, the 2 of which I was already aware, but it's amazing, amazing protection. Here's what it offers. Aura will help remove your personal information from data brokers and people search sites that can sell your information to thieves, scammers, and more. It offers identity theft protection. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points like the dark web, public records. You get financial fraud protection. You'll get alerted within minutes if there's a breach of your credit card and other such financial fraud. It offers a VPN to protect your connection to the internet so the government doesn't always know what websites you are visiting. Aura offers antivirus protection, password protection, certified data security and privacy, and it has 24/7 US-based support, which is very, very important to me. I'm not leaving myself or my family vulnerable to data breaches. I am protecting myself, and you should protect yourself as well. Go to aura.com/VivaFry to start your 14-day free trial right now. That will be enough time for you to understand just how valuable Aura is and how much protection it offers to all of us. So thank you very much to the sponsor, Aura, but more importantly, Aura, thank you for the protection you have given me. And now back to the video. And it looks like the failures came from the highest ends on all aspects of this. And so it's not everybody knows I love Bongino. He's one of the more unsung heroes of Trump's election. I think some of the unsung heroes, at least on the mainstream level, Pavlovsky, Rumble, Bongino. War Room gets its accolades, but potentially unsung as well, although everybody knows Bannon. Bongino is one of them. He is what I was once called, and I love it. He's a force multiplier of knowledge, of insight, of movement, of activism. Now, I like it, period, full stop. There was, people rumoring that he's going to be tapped because he was highlighting the failures, putting on blast the failures, the lack of accountability at all levels of that debacle of a setup to be publicly executed day in Butler. Whether or not I wanted him or would have been happier or would think he's more up for the job, it doesn't seem that this appointment is going to do what is necessary to expose the systematic corruption and incompetence that allowed those events of that day to occur. And it's not, look, I have no doubt that Sean Curran is a good person. Bongino, sings his praises on today's show. But these were the people who were at the helm of a zero-fail operation, and it failed miserably. And if it had gone the way it would have in any other universe, Trump would be dead right now, and you would have had Sean Curran lying over Trump's deceased body. Trump, that being said, the bottom line, that being said, it's Trump's decision, and it's the one that impacts him the most directly, the most intimately, the most personally. And so you can't really second guess his choice on this. It's his choice. That being said, it's beyond Trump as well, because this has to do with all of America. This has to do with restoring America. This has to do with the 76 million people who voted for Trump, who want to see him not just survive, but thrive, who want to see him fulfill his promises and restore American greatness. So he does owe it also to them to ensure that he is in the best possible hands for his personal security and safety. And there are a lot of people who are not convinced that by giving a promotion to the man who was head of the Secret Service detail that day, that either didn't go out personally and say who's on that roof because it's the nearest roof, unsecured, who didn't implement or make sure there was in existence a line of command, a chain of communication, so that for the 2 minutes when they knew that kid was on the roof, that could get relayed to Trump, and they just don't bring him out. And then, I appreciate the moment. And it's the most iconic photo potentially in American history. And people say, he shielded him afterwards. How did they know that there was only one shooter? It's been however many months and nobody's talking about it anymore. But there are still people who are offering theories that there were more than one shooter. How in the moment, 3 seconds after, and I appreciate Trump is a stubborn man and wanted to assure the crowd he was alive and he was going to fight, but to leave him exposed again. Oh, well, the shooter's dead. We know it. It's been 10 seconds. So we've got legitimate questions, legitimate concerns about everything that went down at all levels. And to see the person who, what was he? His position was, it wasn't a nothing position. Sean Curran position. If I can possibly type things out with my fat fingers, that's not it. Sean Curran position, Secret Service. So he was head of the detail. Sean Curran has been appointed by President Trump as the director of the United States Secret Service. This appointment was announced January. Okay. He had served in the Secret Service for over 2 decades, who previously was the head of Trump's personal security detail. You won't blame people who are not inspired with confidence to see the person who was the head of his Secret Service detail, given the events of that day, be appointed. But who knows? Trump knows best. And in as much as it's in his best interest in every literal sense, he also has an obligation to live long and prosper and make sure that America returns to greatness, and to do everything in his power to make sure that no unhinged lunatic gets in the way of that. And I hope my take on that is not wildly inappropriate. Who am I to judge? But I have my thoughts and I have my concerns, and I was following that quite closely. And from the beginning, it was there need to be consequences for the failures of that day, not promotions. But if Trump trusts him, that should be good for the rest of us. Although it's not really good enough for me. But whatever. I will hope that it's the best possible choice and that it proves to be the best possible choice.